What people don't see is what happens 99% of the time when they're not playing a game or when they're not scoring that magnificent goal. What they're doing 99% of the time is very different from what you see. When it's difficult, just think it's all part of the process. That's what I'm talking about with the process. When I preach the process, it's all part of the process, and sacrifice is just one of those things. What's up, effective fam? It is day 11 of the 100-day challenge, and just want to wish you a good afternoon. Unfortunately, I have bad news to report today. The video camera wasn't working properly, so I only got these clips to show from the training.
Walk back.
So that was unfortunate. Also unfortunately that today's training, though I did say in day 10 yesterday that I wanted to have, I needed to switch it up and really have a good training session. It just didn't happen today. Again. I mean, it was slightly better with the shooting and the finishing and the crossing, but not to the standard that I need, and that was a bit frustrating, honestly. Man, and what's also frustrating is this thing came out far out. It's been a frustrating last 2 days, but it's part of the process, and I'll keep on continuing to recover the best way possible, to give my very best in every single training. One thing that I didn't do properly last night, you guys saw this in day 10, I was doing the 5 things I need to do for my keys to success. Yesterday, I didn't get my head on the pillow 8.5 hours before I was scheduled to wake up. It was only like 8 hours, 15 minutes or something like that. So that wasn't good enough. That means I have to do 100 push-ups. Man, this is so annoying. Another thing from yesterday is I got my recovery bar sorted now. So I've got my bananas, got my apples, got my nuts, got my bread thing, got a supply of water. So that's covered. Otherwise, guys, the main part today is going to be all about the webinar that happened on Sunday. I talked a lot about game analysis the last few days. Now I really talked about it, and not just me, actually, with Stoke City FC. Yes, the Stoke City. I got the first team analyst to come on and join me on a class and on a webinar on Sunday, and wow, is there some golden nuggets of info there. If you got 30 or 40 or 50 minutes with you today, make sure that you check it out. You don't have to watch this whole episode. I know it's long, but at the very least, go in the comment section below, check out the timestamps, and just skip to a part that looks like it could interest you. So check that out, and just enjoy it. Steve at Stoke, he's in the first team. He's an analyst in the first team, so he's communicating with Mark Hughes, with Shaqiri, with Peter Crouch, etc. So this is a Premier League team giving advice, a Premier League analyst giving advice. Steve is basically responsible for pretty much scouting and analyzing the stars of today and tomorrow, I guess. So
yep.
So that's what you do at Stoke. If you guys don't know, I'm the founder of TrainEffective.com. I am also doing, and this is how a lot of you guys would have found this this webinar, I am doing this 100-day challenge to become a professional footballer. Let's just get into, so what do you do at Stoke? What's your kind of day-to-day life at Stoke? What is that?
Day-to-day is 2 days never the same, as probably all the other guys that do the game brain stuff will know. It's it can be tough at times. It can be quite easy. It all depends on how your game's gone the weekend. Obviously we lost the 4 games previous to the weekend just gone. So as you can imagine, the 4 weeks are pretty tough in trying to boost morale around the club and lift players that are lacking in confidence and stuff like that. So it has been quite difficult, but now there is light at the end of the tunnel, so they say. So, so kind of as a general week, we'll obviously play. I'll start on a Saturday. I'll go Saturday to Saturday. So we'll play Saturday, 3:00, and then we'll come. We'll do all the live coding of the game. So we'll look at match events. We'll look at stuff like individual clips. So there's 3 of us on match day that work at Stoke. We all do individual jobs, and then that kind of all collates on a Sunday where we'll get like a post-match report from a company we're using in England called Prozone, which is used probably fairly worldwide now. It has changed its name to Stats, which is like an American-based company, which some people might be familiar with. So yeah, we'll get the kind of all the stuff will be collated for Sunday, and then Monday morning when everyone's back in, we'll kind of go through it with the manager. So he'll come in into our office on the Monday morning with the rest of the coaching staff, and they'll just watch through the game in detail. So
Mark Hughes and all them.
yeah, so we've got Mark Hughes, Mark Bowen, Eddie Nazvecki, and then our goalkeeping coach Andy Quire will come in on that, and then they'll all get together and kind of talk with regards to what our KPIs or key performance indicators were for that game, and whether we attained them or we didn't, and if we didn't, then why didn't we?
Yeah.
So they'll go for the whole game, 90 minutes. Like I say, the last 4 weeks has been tough because we've been getting beat. Not generally because of our bad play, but mistakes. And obviously, when you play the big teams, I mean, we've played Chelsea, we've played Liverpool, very good teams. So any mistakes against those kind of teams, then they'll hurt you. So we'll go through the game, and then we'll pick out clips of the game that we'll feed back to the players. So probably either Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning before training, we'll kind of feed that back either as an individual, just a one-to-one, or we'll do like a unit feedback. So we might bring the defenders in, the goalkeeper, we might bring the midfielders or the strikers. And then we'll go through, kind of put that game to bed by the Tuesday morning / lunchtime. And then the week starts again pretty much for us. Then we will concentrate on the next opposition. So, for example, we've got Swansea next weekend. We'll start doing some preparation for that kind of pre-match side. So we'll look at all their strengths and weaknesses, and who's been playing for who, and who's been playing where, kind of previous lineups, that kind of stuff. And then we'll put that together in like a notepad form, and so we use iBooks for that. With some video in, and then we'll create separate videos for the players to show in their pre-match meetings. So that kind of builds up to the Saturday. So Thursday, it's kind of our main tactical day. So when the lads come back in on Thursday, it's kind of there's a plan that what we're going to do to either break down the opposition or stop them from scoring. So we'll go through that quite a lot in depth on the Thursday.
Yeah. And you mentioned the key performance indicators. So you're talking about like teams and even players themselves have the kind of target that they need to reach. Like, can you give?
Yeah, I mean,
that or?
we can kind of. I mean, one of the big ones for us is our fullbacks. So for our style of play, we want our fullbacks to get forwards in support of the wide players who will look to come inside and get shots off and link up with the strikers. So one of our KPIs is, as an individual side, is our fullbacks. So we want them to cross a certain amount of crosses per game, and then a percentage of them which are successful. So, for example, you want them to cross 10 crosses per game, and we want 80% of them to be successful, where we get like a first contact or a shot at target or that kind of thing. So that kind of works on the individual side. In our meetings, it's mainly on what we're going to do as a team. So we might, for example, identify an opposition that concede a lot of goals in the first 15 minutes of a game. So one of our KPIs will be fast start. Can we get shots, crosses, corners, put them under real pressure? Because we know that in the first 15 minutes, there's a good chance they might concede a goal. And obviously, especially in the Premier League, most of the time, I'm not going to say all the time, most of the time, the first goal in the Premier League is key. Because like games are really tight now. It's good to have options on the bench, which is what you find in most teams in the Premier League now. They have players that 12 million pound players sitting on the bench, waiting for their time to kind of come in and break into the team. So even players like that are worth that kind of money. It's patience, as it always is with football.
Mm.
You know, like yourself with your vlog that you're doing, the 100 days.
Mm.
It's you don't get results instantly, and unless you're very lucky. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about the hard work and what I always preach, 10,000 hours.
yes, well, they say that for everything, don't they?
Yeah.
10,000 hours.
But yeah, exactly right. I guess let's switch the focus, and that's great insight, by the way. I think a lot of people watching this are thinking, what is day to day life really like for someone like yourself? And I think the way you put it right there it's pretty fascinating. Steve, that's the question I want to ask you. If you had to narrow things down to three things that players should look for when they're analysing matches, what would they be?
I think you're right in terms of watching games, particularly styles across Europe or the world, where I mean, wherever you may be. I mean, particularly Champions League. I mean, we do a lot of stuff with kind of Champions League stuff. So, for example, we looked at we had a game against Man City that we drew 0-0. So we looked at 3 games of Atletico Madrid because they play like a 4-4-2 kind of shape, and we just looked at how they are out of possession. And we implemented that into one of our training sessions. So obviously Man City are going to have a lot of the ball, so we just need to be narrow, compact, and don't allow them to play through us.
Right. So just discipline within the team.
Yeah. So I mean, I think not kind of waffle on too much, but I think analysing games, particularly high end games where all pretty much 22 players are going to be world class. So from there, you can kind of break it down into your individual position. So if you're a striker, look at, I don't know, a Diego Costa or a Ronaldo or a Benzema, and just have a look at his game or whoever you're looking at, and take points at where, off his game that you could adopt into your game. So is it his movement? If you're a particularly quick striker, where a lot of players you face, particularly centre backs, it's very rare that you're going to get a really fast centre back. So straight away you've got an advantage. So in order to maximise that advantage, how do you get the extra yard to create? Even if it's a yard, 2 yards of space where you can kind of ball at your feet to get a shot at goal. So
interrupt quickly, Steve. Speaking of the extra yard, I actually just posted a vlog video about this. Was it today? Or it must be coming out tomorrow because I edited it today. But I was just talking about players like, what's his name? Dele Alli. He scored that wonder goal against, was it Watford?
Yeah, in the curler in the top corner.
Just 1 yard of space, just creating 1 yard of space, one good touch, and getting that far post.
I mean, on top of that, I mean, a really good example, particularly for a wide player, is someone like Iron Robben.
Yes.
Now, I think if you actually type into Google, I think somebody's done a video of all his goals, and you'll be surprised the amount of goals where everyone knows what Robben's going to do. He's going to cut inside and shoot on his left foot.
Yes.
But you see how many times he gets that half a yard of space. Defenders know exactly what they're going to do. They can talk to you could, as a coach, you could talk to your player till they're blue in the face that he's going to come inside on his left foot and he's going to shoot. And trying to stop that, and that's what he's, adapted over his career. And even now, I think he scored one recently where he's just cut inside and bottom corner again. I think he's against Borussia Dortmund.
The exact video you speak of, and Hashir, because you were managing the Twitter account, I think you can go ahead and link that up in the comments or whatever. There is the 2-minute video, I think, of Robben, literally of him scoring 30, 40 goals, of just cutting inside, and it's ridiculous.
And that goes along with it, the 10,000 hours kind of thing. That's pretty much 10,000 hours worth of his career, just doing that. He's made a career of coming inside and shooting.
Yeah.
And that's, obviously being quick and, having quick feet and getting away from defenders is all well and good, but just getting that half a yard, either the drop of a shoulder or a fake, just to get that, just to wrap his foot around the ball and put it in the far corner.
And this is something I want to expand upon. You just touch upon it. You just touched upon Robben doing this throughout his whole career, 10,000 hours of him and his main strength being him cutting inside and whipping into the far post or whatever. That's a message to the players watching. You have to play to your strengths. You have to understand, and this can be done through watching other players. You have to go understand what your own strengths are. So Robin's main strength is always just simply cutting inside and curling a shot in the far post or shooting at the near post. You as a player have to understand what is that one thing that will differentiate me or make me stronger than the rest of the squad or the rest of the players I'm trialing against. What is that one strength? In the next vlog that I'll post, you guys will see that I think one of my strengths is just creating that quick little yard of space and then curling a shot in the far post, similar to what Robin does, similar to what Dele Alli did against Watford. So that's just the message there. Self-awareness. You have to understand what your strengths are, and through analyzing other players like Robin or like players you just mentioned, Steve, you can develop a better understanding of your game, and by that, and just have a better performance. Yeah.
I think just on top of that, I think as well, it's important to kind of realise that you don't need to go out onto wherever you play on the park or on a pitch or wherever your local park, wherever it is. Not to go out there for 4 or 5 hours just doing the same drill, because one, you'll fatigue, and then that's when the injuries occur and all that kind of stuff. So what's something that we did with one of our players? They were a young player who, everyone knows, James Ward-Prowse at Southampton. So what we were finding with him, he was taking free kicks. Everyone knows he's a really good free kick taker, but he was staying after training, taking 20, 30 free kicks, and by the end of it, they were going left, right, and centre. There wasn't none of them on target. So we kind of videoed the session, and then we brought him in and said, "Look, right, instead of taking 30 free kicks, why don't you take 5 or 6, but make them really good quality?" So on that Iron Robin one, instead of, if that's your strength, if you like coming in cutting inside, set up your little drill on the edge of the box or on the corner of the box, and instead of just repeatedly doing it for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, just say to yourself, right, at the end of whatever you're doing, if it's a running drill or you've done a bit of fitness work, just say, right, I'm going to take 5 shots now, and I'm going to see how many I can get in the goal. And by doing that, you'll in your brain, you'll think, right, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And as you progress kind of down the line, even if you do five kicks, for 5, 6 sessions, for example, you'll find that you'll progress. So the first attempt, you might just get one goal by cutting inside, whereas by the end of it, you might get 5 out of 5. And then it's the quality. Then that then you might be able to increase it maybe to decrease it to maybe 3. So you've got 3 attempts. And then as you go, then when it comes to a game day, you're like, I know if I have 3 attempts at that goal,
you can really
by cutting inside,
rely on that.
there's going to be I will score. Yeah. So it's not necessarily the kind of volume of shots you take; it's the quality, and and I think that's quite important especially for young players that if they're really really keen and they're willing to learn. I think that's because what I found when I was growing up, I wasn't coached that kind of stuff. As a youngster, I don't think you get kind of coached. It's kind of you go for a training session, you play an hour, and then you do something for 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the end, and there's no real coaching. It's just kind of everyone gets the ball, shoot at the goalkeeper. Whereas I think especially at the elite level, it's the quality of what you do. So you for example, in particularly Premier League games now, where there's that one moment of brilliance, but that one player he's probably done that that routine for 5, 6 years, doing it at a lower volume, but the quality of it is there, so he's able to do it more consistently and with better quality.
Mate, consistency is the key, and that's it's when it comes to practicing, it's not just about doing something for a week or a month and hoping that it pays off. Like weeks and weeks and months and years to really really pay off. And yeah, that's also a great, Steve. You just nailed it again. Like, that's another great point for anyone who's watching. Consistency is a key, and you really have to be putting in the effort over a long period of time, not just a couple of days or a couple of weeks. This is more than that. So, and with quality too, with quality and intensity, and that's something definitely Train Effective provides with its drills and workouts as well. So, um, that was really good, Steve. Let's see. What else do we have on the agenda? So, I guess the final question I wanted to talk about with you is at that elite level when you're working with the players of the likes of Shaqiri, the likes of Peter Crouch, um, um, some really top players. So, how much do they incorporate this game analysis into their own training and their own? Do you give them specific videos to watch of their performances, or how does it?
Yeah, so for example, we've got is Sado Berahino, who we've just signed for £12 million or around that figure. So we've kind of, the way we're playing at the moment, he's kind of the main central striker on his own. So again, if everybody knows Sado Berahino, he's a very similar size to Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah.
So and Defoe is playing that kind of role at Sunderland. So we kind of clip all the Defoe's kind of events from games, kind of holding the ball up, getting it between defenders. That kind of how a lone striker will play during the game, and we kind of show, right, this is what Jermaine Defoe does, who's the same size as you. He's obviously, granted, he's 34 years old now, so he's come another one coming to the end of his career. But players like that, where he's been doing it consistently, one with quality for years. He's, in a full season, he could probably score 20, 30 goals a season. And so we we clip those stuff together, and we'll say to him, right, watch this, and then you feed back to us what you think. So it's not just it's not just us telling him what he has to do. It's him kind of looking at it, taking it on board, and then having to think about how he can implement it into his game. So again, that comes along with finding a player that's similar to your kind of style, whether it's a Ronaldo or a Defoe or whoever it is, and kind of taking bits from his game and implementing into yours. And what we've noticed is his hold-up play, and obviously because in the Premier League, some of the defenders are huge. They're 6 foot, they're 6'6", 6'7", big, real brutes of men. And it's kind of some players aren't as receptive as others in terms of they might not take on board a video. They just rather be verbal, so they might be just a coach saying to them, right, do this, do that, do that. Whereas some players can't get enough of video, and they want to see examples of shooting, crossing, everything, as much information they can get. Kind of.
Do you name some players that really incorporate this video analysis part? So you mentioned Brian. I can't say his name properly.
Berahino.
Are there any other players in the squad that are really?
We do a lot of stuff on. So we do a lot of stuff on, like, kind of who your opposition player is going to be. So Shaqiri will come in and watch stuff on the opposition left back, what his strengths and weaknesses are, and then he'll obviously knows his strengths, and he'll kind of operate how he sees fit to kind of get the better of him and win his battle. And it's kind of, I mean, some players, like I say, are really receptive to it, and some players aren't. But there's a lot of good fullbacks in the Premier League at the minute. There's Seamus Coleman, who's been on fire until his unfortunate leg break. You got the two guys at Spurs, and Carl Walker and Danny Rose, who for me are probably the best two fullbacks in the league at the minute, if not the world, just in terms of their energy and the way they play up and down the pitch all the time, assisting goals. I know it might sound bizarre to some people who maybe don't watch Spurs as much as what the guys do in England, but There's obvious ones, like there's Marcelo at Real Madrid and the real top end guys, but I think it's not always about players like that. I mean, they're at big clubs for a reason. They are good players, but sometimes their game isn't as good as what it makes out to be. So it's important to kind of find a player. Don't just pick Marcelo because he's at Real Madrid and he's the best left back in the world. It's important to pick someone
Ronaldo.
Yeah, there's never going to be a Ronaldo. There's never going to be a Messi again in this world. So that unless there's a really good player that's very similar to Messi now, he's most likely, probably by the age of 8, already signed at a professional club, which is where most clubs kind of sign their players up now at 8 years old. So, there's the scouting network in clubs now is really global. So if you are Messi at 8 years old, then you will be picked up and you'll be. So I think, there's always a lot of people banging on it, like I say, about the best fullbacks in the world and blah, 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 blah. But I think it's important to choose someone that suits your style. So if you're not quick, choose someone that's not quick. Don't pick, like I said, Marcelo, who's really quick, because his game doesn't suit you. So defensively he might not be great, but going forward he's brilliant because he's quick. So you kind of have to scout around a bit and watch plenty of games. But yeah,
Just pick that one player. That's a message again to everyone.
Yeah, that one player
that you can model yourself off. And a lot of the time you'll hear players, good players, talking about who they actually model themselves after growing up, or what strikers. I was just watching a Harry Kane interview the other day, and he said he'd model himself off Terry Sheringham, and players like Defoe, and you compare how they play to how Harry Kane plays these days now, and it's very similar. So,
in the modern day, the game is now changing. So players like Gerrard and Lampard, their style might not fit into a Premier League team. So you might find people not saying, obviously they're idols, because I grew up watching Gerrard and Lampard and they were brilliant. But when you watch them now, they might not fit into how teams play, because, like I say, the game evolves, tactics change, instructions from coaches change. So that I'd like to say that there's plenty of players out there that all have strengths, all have weaknesses. Some are brilliant, some are great, some are out of this world. In the Premier League, there's plenty now. There's Coutinho at the minute. We played Liverpool last week, and bearing in mind he was on the bench because he was ill. He came off the bench and he was the best player on the pitch by a country mile.
Yeah.
And apparently he was carrying a cold. So, he's only operating at 70% rather than 100%, and he still ran rings around us. So it just shows, really.
And that was after the international break, wasn't it?
No. Or maybe it was.
Oh, that was the Merseyside. Yeah, that was the Merseyside. Everton.
Yeah.
That was a different one. But yeah, cool. Yeah, great stuff. I guess the last thing... This is going to be interesting. One thing I wanted to do with you is I got a match of the day clip here. I'm going to play it with no audio, and I just want you to. And we haven't prepared for this, honestly, so I don't know how this is going to work. It might go disastrously. So let's just look at this clip. Everyone at home can also look at this clip too, and just look at the clip and see what springs to mind.
So go back there. Pause.
I got what you want. So Lukaku. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that there was one of the guys commented on my videos asking about as a centre back, what do you do if you come up against like an Ibrahimovic or a Hulk, I think it was, or something like that. And this kind of example shows. So Lukaku there, he's created the space. He's created the space for himself with, I think it's Huth, I think, marking him there. He's given himself 2 or 3 yards. So as Baines plays that ball into him, he can pin Huth So it's really difficult for Hoos to get in front of him and nick the ball off. So as when the ball is played into him, if you watch the runners off of Lukaku, so again, Baines goes for the second ball. We've got Tom Davies running off there. And that, if you take it back slightly, because of the position of Lukaku, you'll see the space left by Huth. So in an ideal world, you'd want the ball played into Lukaku, laid off to a midfield player. So pause it as he on his feet. So pause it there. So just for example, say if the referee was an Everton player, and you've got Baines and Davis making a run in behind Lukaku. So that space between Benaloon, the right side centre back, and I think it's Fuchs who's playing left back. You can see that the distance between the two is quite big. So in an ideal situation there, you'd want the ball into Lukaku, who would then play it to the ref. Let's say an Everton, say it's Ross Barkley, who then could play a first-time ball over the top for those two runners to make a run in behind. Something that is quite big in the Premier League, and I think the term they use is called an up, back and through. So you play up to the striker, you play the ball back, and then you play it through over the top.
And again, this example is also good if you're like a big, kind of bulky, strong player like Lukaku, and you model yourself off Lukaku, like we talked about, modeling yourself off one player. Look at Lukaku. Look at how he got that ball. What was he doing when that number 3 got the ball? Lukaku here was already running into the space that he saw. And that's why he was able to just pop one touch and make sure he was strong and he could position and steady himself to get that one touch. This one, and Steve, you're the expert on this, not me, but this is just what I'm saying.
There's a good example actually I've seen on Twitter today, where Lukaku does a striking masterclass with Jamie Carragher. I don't know if anybody's seen that. It's on Soccer AM in the UK, and he basically talks about how he rolls his defenders and gets a shot on goal. And the goal he scored this weekend against Burnley is probably identical, if anything, an absolute carbon copy of what he does with Carragher. So he says, as soon as I've rolled my defender, game over.
To be available when...
Well, go on, you show me then.
So, especially, I will never stand
watch
just like that centrally. I will always ask the ball in the angle. I will never pin him with my back flat like this, because centre halves, they will just do this between your legs.
Well, how would you pin me then? So side on?
Just like that, side on. And then, or else when the ball comes in...
When you roll the ball in?
Roll. And I'm gone. Because if I put my arm, there's rarely a centre half in the league, because I'm confident in my abilities, that there's rarely...
If you're in this position, you don't think any centre-back...
No, if I hold you like this and I roll you like this, it's finished.
Let's get one in, turn me and finish. That's what you're about, isn't it? Come on. And I'm going to try and stop you.
Right. So there, and that there, and if you can now find his goal versus Burnley, this is literally carbon copy of what he's just done with Jamie Carragher. Almost movement for movement. Rolls in, uses his strength, goal. You see again here, look.
Again.
True to his word.
But amazing. That's just exactly what you.
So it's kind of stuff like that we'll use. It might just be one clip, but it's something that we use that might benefit something that we do in the future, and that'll just be kind of data based. And for example, if the coach says, "Have we got anything on centre forward play, holding the ball up?" We go, "Right, we'll just show them that clip."
Oh, for sure. Like Ashir says here, mind's only simple. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People think to play at the elite level, you need to be kind of like a brain surgeon and have brains. Football intelligence is very, very simple, but people just make it difficult. Because if you really break it down, all it is it's kicking 22 players kicking around a bag of air. That's how simple it is. There's no kind of science to it. I know there's a lot of GPS goes into it, and that kind of, but it is really that simple. If you can identify your opponent's weaknesses, like Lukaku, if he like when Lukaku plays against Stoke, we've got one centre half who we've played the last couple of games during previous seasons, is Mark Muniesa, who is maybe 5'8" maximum. So he knows when he plays us, I'm just going to stand on Mark Muniesa all game, and I'll just pin him and roll him all the time, and because you can't get near him, and that's so simple. It is if you as a striker, if you see it with Peter Crouch or Ibrahimovic, they'll go and stand on the fullback, whether it's like a Cedric Suarez at Southampton, who's really small, or it might be Aaron Cresswell at West Ham, who's again really small. Any long ball played into that area, if it's Ibrahimovic, Fellaini, Costa, the big strikers, they know they're going to win the ball. So it's something just identifying where the weaknesses are on a player. So
Wow.
Really simple.
So all your analysis of Stoke, who do you think is the best player at the club, and and the best
in the Premier League? No pressure. I think at Stoke, our best player by far is probably Marko Arnautovic. Yeah, I think last season he was our top goal scorer, and he's the one player we've got that will make something happen if we're really struggling to create anything. Shaqiri, he's more of a match winner, so he'll create goals and that kind of thing. But in terms of effect on a game, Arnautovic is probably our best player that we've got.
And just going quickly into that, is there anything that you see when you see him around the training ground and stuff? Is he doing something that you see differently from other players to be able to?
I think it's kind of what I've kind of noticed. It's probably the ability to do the basics really well without having to kind of. He knows when the ball comes to him, he hasn't got to think about, well, I've got to control this, and I've got to take a touch out of my feet. He knows that already. That's what his the first thought is. Where's the opposition? So where's like for example Messi? When he's dribbling with the ball, he's looking for space that he can run into. Whereas I know is the same. He's not thinking about I need to control the ball, I need to do this, I need to that. What he needs, he's basically going right. The ball's coming. There's a space. So my touch is going to take me into that space. It's going to go past the defender and in on goal, or vice, that kind of thing, or play another player of my teammates in on goal. And stuff like that. And I think you find that with the best players. The really basic, simple stuff it's just second nature, and it's because again the training that they've done, the 10,000 hours, something that's so simple that might be difficult for others. Maybe controlling a ball that's been kicked really high in the sky. When it comes to everyone does that. How good's your touch is what we always say in England. It's how's your touch, and then it kind of either bounces miles away or you control it stone dead. So I think it's just the ability to nail down the basics, which it then allows you to kind of maybe tricks or the next stage of your play, or that kind of thing, across a shot. What can you do the next part of it? So I think you need to have, especially as a young player, you've got to dedicate your life to it, because it is a big sacrifice. There's a lot of kind of, particularly even in my kind of role in football in general, you'll miss social activities. You'll have to sacrifice going on nights out, weekends, missing out weddings, parties, everything. It's kind of you need to put 100% in.
Sacrifices.
So
dedication, sacrifice.
Yeah, dedication, sacrifices. I think they are the two, and the hard work. You've got to put the work in. All as a combination of a lot of things that will take you a long way. I mean, you see players in the Premier League that might not have the ability or, the pace of others, but their hard work and their desire and their commitment to playing has taken them where they are. So, you don't necessarily have to be Cristiano Ronaldo to make it a professional footballer.
Definitely. And I mean, for me, my side right now, I'm in Budapest. I've come here, and Steve, I probably haven't talked about my story enough. So you might not know this, but I quit my job. I'm from Australia, so I left my family, my friends, and stuff up there, down there. Sorry, and I got a coach here in Budapest. I'm training every day. I know he's one of the best coaches that can take me to the next level, so that's why I'm training with him. That's why I came all the way here to do this, and that's a kind of crazy, almost crazy, delusional sacrifices you have to make. That's obviously a bit bigger than missing out on a party or missing out on watching your favorite TV show or something in order to go train or but definitely sacrifices are what you have to make, and here's the most important thing: making it the most important thing that you care about in your life. So this is something I talked about on Snapchat the other day. Football is what your life centers around. So football is what your life centers around, not the other way around, where football is just one of the things that you do, one of the 6 or 7 or 8 things that you do. So I think that's the main thing there. I think that's all the questions we can take for now. I see that we're approaching almost 1.5 hours here, and maybe is that your son or your daughter?
That's where they'll go. Yeah, she's just come back from Nanny's.
You'll need to be put to bed soon.
Good. Yeah, good timing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hold off here. I'm gonna hold on here, Steve, and just do a little more talking here. Yeah. But I just want to say, I guess from everyone here, that it was absolutely fantastic to have you on here. I'm so glad that we did this. Yeah.
No problem.
I know you're a busy guy, I know you had the game yesterday and today, I guess, with your day off. So I just really appreciate the whole effective family here. Really appreciate coming.
That's no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it actually. I hope some people actually learned something. I might have imparted some wisdom on some of the players. I mean, if people do have questions, don't hesitate to comment on some of our videos on Game Brain and stuff like that, and and I'll try my best. I am, like Nick said, I am quite busy, particularly just until the season ends. We've got 6 games to go, so kind of between end of May and June, hopefully I can get back to you quite a lot more. So don't hesitate to ask questions, and I'll try and answer the best I can.
Everybody very helpful. Happy Easter. So yeah, fantastic. All right, thank you, Steve. I'll follow up with you with the email or
thanks a lot.
So thank you so much. Okay, guys, I just woke up and it's snowing. It's spring. What? I'm already soaked. My hands are freezing. The training hasn't even started yet. So we've had to find another solution. We are now going to indoor place. What's it called? Doesn't matter what it's called, but we're going there now. I ran home to get my shoes, and that's where we're going. For all the Arabian people. Yeah. What do you do on Snapchat?
I do some funny videos. I do some weed, some drugs.
Weather is beautiful.
Have you seen that team in England that did the R. Kelly song? They sang the R. Kelly song together.
Who?
The team in England.
Oh really?
Yeah. So the time is about 9:20-ish. We should have started about an hour and a half ago. But obviously the ground was closed, so we literally drove halfway across the city to the other side of the city, and we'll come here to train. If that's not dedication, I don't know what is. Okay, we're going outside. You have to train outside?
Yeah, delivery of rain jacket.
Oh, fine. No, come on. So today's training session centered around a lot of components, so passing, shooting, and agility. It actually centered around this agility drill that I'm doing here. Did 6 sets of them in total. First set was a measly 20 seconds, but it did improve over time.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Guys, I just want to jump in here. With these shooting drills that I'm doing at the end of the session, I want to record every rep, every single rep that I do, so I can use it as a baseline, you know. I can look back and think, wow, you know, I really improved on this aspect or that aspect, or, you know, I've even got, my technique is definitely a bit better since Monday when I was complaining about it. So it's just slightly better. Not there on the left foot, obviously, but it does get better. Still not good enough. Still not good enough. You'll also see in the sessions that there are timestamps for some sets that I do. Baseline measurements. You see that I started from 20 seconds in that first set of that agility exercise, and then it got down to 17. Big improvement. And you know, that's a 20 seconds to 17 seconds is a, you know, like a 15% increase in speed. So that's why it's important to set yourself goals and targets and times for every session that you do. Even with these, I can look back and think, you know, maybe I got like 30 or 40 in out of 50, but it should be 45 out of 50, you know, 46 or something like that. So it's just important to improve faster, to have measurements of what you're basing your training sessions on. So bottom line, for better training sessions, for quicker improvement, set SMART goals. S-M-A-R-T. That means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and timely goals. That is very important. SMART goals. Google it. And you'll see with that one I missed 4, which means that's an 80 rep punishment, 20 reps for each. It's important to do that kind of stuff. Alright, just at home now. Got my orange socks on. Just getting my trainings done from Tuesday and Wednesday. if I had to wrap up this training session in this day 12 out of 100, you know, my two positives today, I always try and give two positives and a negative. You know, it's just the easiest way to kind of reflect on your training session, I think. But what I said here was, you know, in terms of positives, I got quicker and quicker on 6 sets of the agility drill. So that's good progression. That's good motivation on my part that I was always trying to do that. Went from 20 to 17. Also got very focused with other drills and doing well there. One negative though is I can still do much better on the finishing. And I said this the last few days. I'm going to say it again. I just need to do more reps and it will come. Today was a good session in the end. Yeah, finishing isn't there, but all the other keys were there. My 5 keys to success. I recovered well yesterday. I slept, etc. So that's why it's a positive today. So we'll just publish that. I'm just looking at other notes in effective, and Michael here, he was talking about, you know, he's nervous. He's got his game with the 18s this week. I think Michael's like 15 or something, so he's playing a few age levels up, but he's nervous and wants to do his absolute best. You prepare for your trainings the same way you prepare for your matches. That's your recovery, your eating, your nutrition, your everything. If you're preparing the same way that you prepare for trainings to a match, then like, what's really the difference? Sure, it's a different context, but the training is preparing you for matches. And if you're not taking the training seriously, if you're only putting 80% effort because, you know, you slacked off a bit, then it's going to reflect in your matches. This goes back to the old quote, right? Classic quote. How you train is how you play.
Yeah. I made up my mind for you.
What's up, guys? Thursday training. Was ready for this one, felt pumped, was ready to go. The recovery sessions I've been doing, man, they've been making a difference. I always feel fresh as F. So what you can see here, doing a lot of technical drills to start with, technique / fitness, so it requires a lot of concentration here. You might have seen this one before, and you see, like, I'm hitting the ball with the top of my thigh. It's a bit of a weird one, you might not have seen it before, but basically this is really helping with the timing of my passes and shots, really helping with coordination, getting that power across. But yeah, one thing that you do see throughout all these training sessions is that intensity and the kind of fitness element of it does not stop, that's for sure. As you can see, I just get pushed, man. With all the sets I'm doing here, they are tiring. Just pushing through. Woo. Now, here's a positive thing about today. And it's why I'm still feeling a bit psyched as I just do this voiceover thing. But like, you can see, the shots, the volleys are improving. And you guys know this is something I was really frustrated about these last few days. But you can now see some of that timing, some of that power, right? It's coming across now. You can see that, even with that one. It's really coming together now, so, you know, it's not good enough. It's not really good enough yet, that's what I gotta say. See, I can't miss ones like those, but it is coming together. And that's only with practice, guys. Practice. So here's my right foot. You guys might ask, are you right-footed or left-footed? I've always been right-footed, but it's only with, like I said just before, practice, hundreds of thousands of kicks and passes and touches, literally, which improve my left foot to, to the ability now where I can do everything with it, do everything with my left, shoot everything. And if you guys want a really good technique to improve that, there is a video. It's called How to Improve Your Weak Foot in 30 Days. Check that one out. Guys, nothing crazy today, just another day in the life. Training, hustling, training, recovering, training. Simple as that. Nothing so crazy. I'm just getting all the reps in, getting all the sets in, and doing them to the best of my ability. My notes into it's good performance today. Technique good. Volleys, half volleys, better than the days previously. Just developing a bit more confidence now. Today I really felt like that shot, like that real, I completed a set and I was like, boom, boom, got it. Really good. So yeah, just a good 90-95 minute session and we're done.
We just beginning our training this morning, on this Friday morning. For every exercise, warm up pretty well. Today's training is going to concentrate on. We're going to concentrate on some shooting drills. That is allowing them to find the targets and goal. So we're looking forward to that.
Especially today, I just feel restless. I feel kind of unmotivated. Today in training this morning, I just felt a bit tired, a bit worn out, a bit, like I need to go out and do something else for the day. The last 2 or 3 hours in this room, which I've been staying in, just been watching YouTube videos and wrestling, WWE, and I was like, just at a point I was like, what am I doing, man? I don't know if I feel claustrophobic in this place or if it's like just the same routine every day. The last 2 weeks or so in Budapest has just been like, I wake up, get my clothes on, walk out the door, do an intense, do solid 2 hours plus of training, come back and eat and then kind of edit the vlog, and that'll be my routine every single day. It's kind of the same thing every day, and that might be the reason why I feel a bit like this. And a lot of you might be like, well, why don't you focus on some other things or do some other things? I can't. Simply, I can't. The reason is, growing up, I had so many things that I love doing. One part of me is the football part. Another part of me is the entrepreneurial part. That's things with like Train Effective and starting businesses and stuff. When I studied over in Amsterdam, I had a lot of things going. I would have football, which I was still practicing like 15, 20 hours a week, pretty seriously. At the same time, I would have uni classes I would do. Also, I was very entrepreneurial, doing entrepreneurial things, doing businesses online and stuff. That's 3 things. 4th thing were the parties and chasing girls and stuff like that. All these things would come into play. Of course, the football and the business part were the 2 most important things for me. But it comes at a cost. All these other things would take away a bit of my focus on the main thing that I wanted to do. And actually, you know what? I don't know if the main thing I wanted to do at the time was football, because I was having so much fun doing all the other kind of things I was doing. So in terms of the football stuff, like I go to games and practices and stuff like that, and There was rarely times where I really felt on fire, like because I had these 3 or 4 other things, taking time in other parts of my life and all my energy. I would still, get dropped to the bench and think like, I'm thinking to myself, man, what's going on? I'm getting dropped. I'm not giving my best performance. I was frustrated. I was really freaking frustrated. Understand that the potential cause of that was because I had all these things going on. I thought I could do everything. I really thought I could do everything. Good trainings. I'd get into a team. When I first moved to Switzerland, there was a team that saw me. I had a really good training or 2 with them, and immediately they said, yeah, we don't pay the players in our team usually, but we'll pay you because we believe in you. You had a really good training session, all that kind of stuff. But you know what happened with that team? I started getting dropped to the bench. Wouldn't, pay me anymore, and at the time I didn't have a job, and I was pretty damn broke. I needed that money. At the end of the day, that's really a position that you don't want to be in. Begging the club director for money. That he should have paid me, by the way. Anyway, so if you're hearing this, Bayat, keep your promises. Other teams, again, usually make a good first impression, but as time went by, the motivation level slowly degraded and stuff like that, and I think, why? What's the real cause of this? Do I really want this? Fast forward, I have a full-time job and I'd be working on Train Effective. I'd be doing football and having a girlfriend and still trying to maintain some sort of social life. And you have all these things, it doesn't work. Nick, you gotta focus on just one thing only, around what I really wanna do the most. If I'm gonna become successful in anything, that I have to do that. Life will only reward you with the thing that you want most. And that's where I came at a crossroads. Do I continue working with full-time job, which I was doing really, really comfortably? I was earning quite a lot of money in Switzerland. Or do I put all my eggs in one basket with Effective? Or do I put everything into football? Or I had these thoughts in my head for a long time. But after thinking about it a lot, for months and months, and actually more than a year, I really thought about what is it that I was really going to do. That's why I just sent it in on, this is it. Football is what I want to do right now. And I have to center my whole life around football. That's why I left Australia. I was there over Christmas and just spending time with family, trying to figure out where to go next, or whether I should stay in Australia or whatever. And that's why I say I left that. So I quit the job, left the family and friends, and everything. I even delegated a lot of the stuff that I'm doing with Train Effective right now to the others in the team, so I can go 100% in on this challenge, on the vlogging, and focus on the training. Combines anyway, because doing stuff like this is reflection, which is all about the center. So that's my message to a lot of you guys who have a lot of different things going on, a lot of different activities. Maybe you're still in school and you're thinking deciding between, look, you got the drama club that you do after school, you play soccer, 2 nights a week you play hockey with your friends or something. All take time, but if you put all those things into one, your life changes. The sacrifices you have to make if you really want something. These kind of days, it might be boring and routine and but it's a price that you have to pay. What people don't see is what happens 99% of the time when they're not playing a game or when they're not scoring that magnificent goal. What they're doing 99% of the time is very different from what you see when they're on private planes doing, pre-season tours, or when they're doing, it looks all glamorous and glorious, or when they're scoring goals and celebrating. That's literally, guys, 0.01% of their time. You don't see is that 99.99% the other time. What are they actually doing? It's things like this: routine, structure, and centering their life around what people don't actually see. The training, the eating, the lifestyle, making sure you get the naps, the foam rolling, the recovery, washing your clothes so they're ready, spending a lot of time in this room trying to figure out my thoughts and figure out my thought processes and stuff like that. It's not all fun and games, that's for sure. Whenever you guys think it's tough, when it's too hard, when it's difficult, just think it's all part of the process. That's what I'm talking about with the process. When I preach the process, it's all part of the process, and sacrifice is just one of those things. See you.
I realize that to have the level of success that I want to have, it's difficult to spread it out and do multiple things. It takes such a desperate, obsessive focus. You really got to focus with all of your fiber and all of your heart and all of your creativity. I've never really viewed myself as particularly talented. Where I excel is ridiculous, sickening work ethic. You know, while the other guy's sleeping, I'm working. While the other guy's eating, I'm working. There's no easy way around it. No matter how talented you are, your talent is going to fail you if you're not skilled. You know, if you don't study, if you don't work really hard and dedicate yourself to being better every single day, you'll never be able to communicate with people, with your artistry, the way that you want. So the only thing that I see that is distinctly different about me is I'm not afraid to die on a treadmill. You might have more talent than me, you might be smarter than me, but if we get on the treadmill together, right, there's two things. You're getting off first, or I'm gonna die. It's really that simple.
Yeah guys, I feel strong. No, but seriously, I always try and get at least one gym session during the week. This is to prevent injuries and to maintain some of the gym and strength work that I have built over a number of years. The reason I don't do more than that is because with the training session that you're seeing, they incorporate a lot of hops and skips and jumps and stuff like that, which is plyometrics, a form of strength training in itself. But yeah, while it's cool to do weights, don't do this kind of stuff unless you've been trained. Especially you young guys out there, it's cool to lift weights, but you need a foundation there. If you're under the age of 16, I would recommend sticking more to the body weight kind of stuff and incorporating resistance, you know, when you get older, or when you've definitely got at least a foundation where you can rely on your form. Otherwise you cause injury and you can't play football properly. Chelsea vs Tottenham is a match that I watched. I posted a lot of this stuff on Snapchat. You can follow me at @TrainEffective. Yeah, lots of interesting stuff, and I'm sharing the learnings with you. So check this out.
Boys and girls, if you're watching the Chelsea-Tottenham game, don't just watch it, analyze it. Look what I'm doing here. I've got all my notes, writing everything. See that throughout the game, I mark off here that there was a run, cross, run, things I can look back on. I'm looking at the battles between Son and Moses because that's the kind of position I play as a fullback, as a winger. So guys, 8:24 p.m. Saturday night, Chelsea won 4-2. Got a whole lot of notes here. Some great learning points now. So I saw 5 great examples of crossfield balls, 5 examples of 30 to 60 yard runs, 3
Very confident start, okay. Questions being asked of him now.
Yeah, 3 examples of Azpilicueta being a machine and in being ready and how he defends. My question is more like, how do you make an impact when the defensive line is deep? What I saw in this game was Tottenham made 2 goals from crosses, cross-field balls, and they've been doing that all game. Crosses and good runs up the side. But what I observed was, and looking back on those goals, was that was when Chelsea were playing a bit of a higher defensive line. Around the 70th minute, what I saw was Chelsea were defending really deep, so Tottenham couldn't do what they were doing before. Tactical masterclass by Conte. So that's what I got to figure out after this now. How do you make an impact when the defensive line is so deep? What's the best way to penetrate defenses? What do you do as a winger? Otherwise, this is all about the game brain. This is why analysis matters. I've seen clear examples of how I can make an impact as well by watching this game.
Third episode, that's a wrap, guys, and you're just seeing more of the fundamentals. Get into play with that episode. Make sure you like and subscribe because we're going to hit you up with more episodes coming soon. All right, guys, keep enjoying the 100-Day Challenge series. Keep training, keep staying effective, and keep going after those dreams. Let's go.